Alright, I'm doing a video here. Got some Georgetown Chert. I'm going to be talking a little bit, not too much. Mostly just going to talk my way through it to answer some of the questions I've gotten about why I'm doing certain things and what I'm using and stuff like that. There's no particular interest for nappers. I'd say they can probably skip this one. I'd like if you stuck around, but this one's mostly to answer questions and also to take a little pressure off, because when it comes to Georgetown, I'm a little less certain on when I'm going to get things. Helps me to kind of babble and get my thoughts out instead of keeping them in while I work. Alright, so this one I've already taken a couple pieces. You can see here, here. I know it's good, I know it's clean. I'm going to take this knob off here. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to go for yet. Right now I'm going to go for some sort of large biface or thin Handaxe, and then go from there. So let's first get all this cortex off, get this peeled down, and get into a little bit more even of a shape. Start like this. There we go. You can see that trail because I was hitting it from kind of a weird angle. I was trying to send the force straight across, sending a little too much this way, started giving me resistance, but power of the big old moose billet, was able to bust through it. And I was kind of lucky on my end. I might not have gotten away with that without such a good billet. I think I need to re-abrade this because this guy's still a pretty solid platform there in the direction I'm trying to send it. Broke up, but you hear that good pop. Shifted that angle enough. Alright, so abrading, that's what I'm doing there. When I abrade, if I have a piece that has a razor sharp edge like that, pick that back up, razor sharp edge like that, and I hit it with anything, it's just gonna crush. It's not gonna go anywhere. The edge angle is just going to flatten out. So before I do that, I do that. Before I accidentally flatten it out, I do it on purpose, because it thickens that angle so that when that concussion goes through, it actually pushes through. Pause for a second. I have a loud gravel driveway that I share with some neighbors. Yeah, with abrading, it's just to strengthen that edge. It creates a new edge angle as well as strengthening the edge so that when that strike hits, the force travels into the stone instead of giving way and crushing all of that with that force. It's a really thin edge angle, so I'm trying to strike with some precision here. There we go. Peeled it just a little bit. It's just a little bit more narrow. Keep bringing it up. Ideally, what I'm thinking, if I finish this point out, it'll be nice and pointy right here. Have a nice, good, thin profile. I can just slap the cortex off these sides and have a good, round kind of Handaxe, maybe even a 10-rin disc, if I'm feeling fancy. So, I have two different abraders. This one's stronger, but a little less fine graded. It's a little bit thicker and coarser, a little bit stronger. So when I use this one, it really crushes away that edge and flattens out. When I use this, it almost kind of bites into it so that it sends flakes down through and really shapes out deeper into the stone with a little bit more of a thin profile, which is helpful if I'm trying to send thinning flakes instead of just diving into the stone. very drastically shifted that angle. This edge angle here is a little different, so I'm going to go for a different billet. It's my elk billet. It's a little more finely faced. It just doesn't send as quite directly strong forces. It's a little spongier, and it can cause some crushing. I'm confident, I think, that this spot will handle it well, as long as I land it accurately. There we go. Yep, see what I mean? Crushed, but shape that angle the way I needed it to. And all these same rules, I'll stop abrading so you can hear me. All these same rules apply to the glass I work, apply to the obsidian I work, just chert, I hit it harder and I abrade it a little differently. And I'll switch to different things at different stages. Chert, rocks come back into a later stage a little more frequently. With obsidian and glass, it's pretty set that once I get past that rock stage, I'm gonna just continue working down in billet size until I move on to those flakers. With both though, I'll sometimes move a little flaking in earlier on if I need to really set a specific edge angle to make sure I send that flake the right direction. They're all interchangeable ultimately, but there is a generalized pattern that you'll find yourself falling into. I say it like that because I think you all should get out there and do it yourself too. Traveled well, but Cortex stopped that force down there, so I'll have to readjust that angle. But I think I'm down to one last, no, two last. There we go. You can see that cleared that weird chalk shelf off, and you can see just how little of this is chalk. There is chert, it's mostly chalk in this little pocket here. It's good thick Cortex, and that weird kind of stippling right there, that tends to be freeze cracking from what I've gathered and from my understanding. And I'm always potentially wrong, but that makes sense. This outer Cortex is eating that force a bit more because it is actually kind of disconnected from the internal stone. So keep going, see if I can get it, but good edge angle running along the top of this thing. Right about there, you go. All right, let's keep moving. Another neighbor hitting balls. Going back to it. If you look along this edge angle, hoping to strike this face here, I may strengthen it up with a little more braiding. Thought process is send a good right flake. It should pop this freeze cracked edge off here, clearing it, freeing up the stone. I should be able to flip it back over, come back, clear that off, start working fresh. In theory. I've been wrong. wrong before, I will be wrong again. But who's to say whether I will be today? It's a shame that cracked up, but that is a wonderful flake. Did exactly what I was hoping for. Couldn't ask for better results. Put this guy back together. Normally, I'm pressed for time, short form, so I gotta hold off on reassembling flakes and putting them back in their natural spot, but I will for you as soon as I get a mosquito from behind my ear. Okay. Getting up close. Struck it right down here. Flake came off. You can see this would have been a beautiful blade had it stayed intact, but things tend to break up. That happens. These are all still good enough. This piece especially I find very usable. And now this edge angle, it didn't quite take it as deep as I wanted and clear this edge, but I'm very confident in that we'll get this edge cleared off here as long as I've got this face running clean. This next edge might be a little dicey. You can see there's a shock wave that kind of shelved right through there. I'm a little nervous about that, but we will burn that bridge when we come to it. While my ego would like to go and try and do a spear today, it might be a good tradition to keep that I do Handexes for my talking videos so that you all get to see me actually make something instead of, well, what happens sometimes. Let's try this next strike. I'm not quite confident there. I gotta, yeah, see that light of a strike making it give away is not a good sign. Brush that up a little bit more. I was nervous that I didn't have enough stone exposed. When you hit the cortex, it can really take up that force. There you go. And prevent that strike from traveling, which is one of the benefits I like of working with glass, is you don't have to deal with that. It's also one of the negatives of working with glass. You don't have to deal with that. It's not great practice for real life application. It's where you gotta mix them in if you can. But also not everybody can, so no sweat if you can. Use what you can, do what you can, accept what you can. Hoping this shelf will clear with this strike. Did a little bit more than that, and I am more than happy about that. Look at that. Ooh, gorgeous hand tool, almost nothing else to do to it. Pop it off, it's got a nice bulb on the back. Gonna braid that shelf, will be fine. We've got a neighbor coming up the driveway, so good time to pause. That's a scalpel right there. Alrighty. That was pleasing, to say the least. I'm happy with that. Now, next project is this back spot here. Got a couple competing angles. A couple of these would be good strikes. In fact, I've got 2 or 3 strike angles that would work right here. But this is where it comes in practice, time, forward thinking. You've got to think what you're going to do next. It's something I struggle with a lot, so I got to be very conscious of it. Thinking, if I clear this back cortex, which I'm running into the risk because there's a little crack right there, if I can clear that cortex here, that'll give me a really clean platform to strike this edge off, and I think we'll be pretty much all done with that cortex. I want to come from this back end here because I've got this shelf that I don't think will travel well if I come from this side. I think I've got to free up a strike angle, send it down this crest, get rid of that guy. If that happens, we'll keep on moving and hopefully have a nice Handaxe. Hopefully all of that was in frame. It's crawling up my pants. I'll I'd say about 85% of the time I'm filming, there are ants in my pants, legitimately. They are everywhere, and they like me. Another neighbor. You pass me the water.
Water's hot on one side.
Realized it do not enter. One of our neighbors has a loop around, and the end of their driveway connects with the front of ours, so they have to note that people should not go back up there because it's awkward having early morning traffic jams. Okay, let's try this. Hopefully the crack here will not stop me, and I'll be able to get things clear. See there, it cracked out and shelved. This might not be my wisest course of actions, but I'm gonna clean it up. I'm gonna keep striking that angle. See if I can send it through. Yeah, Cortex ate that. It's okay. It'll still be solved. And that's the beauty of foam knapping. It can all still be solved. See, the first plan, rarely gonna go through, but that's why you think of new ones. Still working. We can do this. Kind of glad things are going wrong, despite it being less than ideal, because if I only ever showed you guys me succeeding, I'd be lying. I make a lot, and I mean a lot, mistakes. I just have to be selective in what I share, because the internet can be a little mean, but I also gotta find times to share that I do slip up, I do make mistakes. I'm sure really experienced snappers can see them even in my good videos. They're always there. Just takes time and practice. They are fewer and far between now. But it's a good luck. Struggles I go through pretty much every time I nap. You can see here, this angle here would be it would be dynamite, perfect for taking this crest off. But that Cortex, it is like a sponge. It's like trying to drive a nail with a sponge on top. It's just not as effective. So I'm gonna have to either figure out a way to get this Cortex off before I strike this, or I'm gonna have to try and strike through it with a hammer stone and get clean through that stone. I'm gonna take this little section off here first. I'm gonna fix this little crack here, because this is a pretty easy crest to fix, this little line. Then I'll come back to this corner, because who knows, maybe the corner will be a nice little flat section once I get done. But I gotta clean up this line here, but once that's done, that'll be good. And again, with the freeze cracking, I think I'm correct, because if you look, you can see there's a 90-degree edge running along right there in that little pit. And you can see the little, it's almost like a zipper and a 90-degree edge on one side. That's, from what I've gathered, from what I've learned, that is a surefire sign of freeze cracking. That being said, it is an excellent piece of stone. I mean, absolute quality. But freeze cracking happens in everything, and this is a very manageable and quite welcome degree of it, I'll say. Let's keep going. Try and come back here, crack through this side. Once I get this butt taken care of. There we go. Just step one out of the way. Drop that down, getting closer to that straight line. Just gotta get rid of this little diamond here. Let that neighbor pass. Nothing really happened. it one more time, make sure you can see right there. Drops that free. That edge is good to go. I'm gonna leave that alone for now. There's no point in bothering. I don't have to perfect that section while I've not gotten everything else right. Get everything good enough, and go back, figure it out. Gotta have strong sections of everything if you want to have any progress. Got another neighbor coming in.
Two.
It's a busy driveway.
It's a BOGO.
Thinking this edge angle will work. There's cortex, right, meeting on it, but if I strike right in this little pocket here, should still send, take off this little hump here, give us a nice flat shape, and then we'll start getting to that final stage of what I want this thing to be. And no, I don't always know. Oftentimes my goal is to get a functional item, and then once I get to that, I'll see how I feel. If I feel confident, I'll keep going. If not, I'll take that win, and I'll keep that in the back pocket till I'm feeling better and feeling like I need a reminder. And right where my fingertip was planted, you can see. Didn't take the hump all the way off, but cleared that cortex, got a start process, opened up that edge angle. And let's get back to it. That corner right there, that angle is good, but the cortex thrown through, so I gotta bop that angle off and just sacrifice that bit of cortex there. Just there we go. This way. Abrade. You can hear it's not. You can hear it turning into. There we go. That tone shift tells me that I've now gotten into a little bit more sturdy of stone. I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna strike right here. As soon as this guy gets out of my ears. Come on, you know you wanna. Do it for me, please. No. That's not great. But it happens, and still a usable tool. Traveled a little too high, hinged out. I can still fix that, and razor sharp edge. This looks a lot like the type of flakes that I see Danny of Totemic Tattoo using, that sharp edge angle, and that nice flat part where you can grip on. Very usable tools, especially for butchering and something like that. Part of flint knapping is rationalizing that even your mistakes can be made useful if you just get over the fact that they're a mistake. You just gotta accept that you whoopsied, move on, and make something of it, or else you're just gonna sit there thinking about it all day. And come back to this hammerstone. It's very soft, but it's big. It's got a really nice little pointed edge on it where I can get my finger in there and accurate strike, and almost like a target right there, those rings. I'm aiming for the center of there so that I can send it down, hopefully take that good chunk off, come back through. And that could not have gone better. All right, put that back on. There's That Cortex right there broke clean off. Left this guy very thin, good bulb. This alone is a usable tool, but there is a very good throwing dart or spear point in there. And I can't wait to find it later on. And for now, starting to look a little more like what you expect a stone tool to. Oh, one piece of Cortex still loose. But some problems to solve, but all very manageable. I'm very hopeful that we're gonna have a nice little Handaxe or Tenorant disc out of this. Emphasis on hopeful and not very confident, because I'm not all that confident of a person. But that is what life is all about. It's also accepting that even if I'm not confident, that does not change me being perceived, my success, unless I let it. So, I gotta get over it. Gotta plug my nose a little bit. I gotta take that leap, make the videos, do the work, let people see it, and let people know that I exist. It's not always my favorite thing. That's a nice little bladelet right there. That wasn't on purpose. That happens all the time on accident. I think that's how they figured out it was a good move. And right there, I had do surgery with that if you needed to. Not that I recommend it. That was all with a hammerstone too. That little strike was just this. It's my abrader of everything too. So let me do a little tap test. You can hear, even through that bit of Cortex, that stone's ringing. If I get, say, my smaller moose billet, that shrill shrieking, it's not ringing so much that it's cracking or tapping. That I don't want to know. That's going to send that force not far, but wide and violently. I don't need that. I need precise and depth. I need clean. So let's take this stuff down. Ooh, it runs deeper than I thought. It's okay. I just have to move my strike a little further up into the stone. There we go. Usable little shard. It's a weird shape, but brought that edge angle down. Gives me the option to isolate these platforms, create a good shape, strike them. I think I've waited long enough now into the video that anybody who's watched, I am okay with you giving me advice in comments. If you haven't made it this far and you don't know about this section, your advice is unsolicited and annoying. If you made it this far, you get the exciting feature of knowing that I asked you for advice. So if you're an experienced napper, emphasis on experienced napper, if you know what you're doing, experienced beginners, that's still a thing, but you gotta know a little bit about napping. You gotta know what you're doing and talking about. I'm happy to know and learn. If there's anything you think I should do better, there's a lot of mistakes I've made here that I know of. So try and read the room on whether I acknowledge said mistake yet. But if you got any good advice, go ahead and let it loose. Help me, help others. That's what it's all about. Got another neighbor coming down. Anyone who's been on the internet, done the thing, posted anything of themselves doing said thing, you're aware of the fact that people like to explain said thing to you very rudely, a lot, when you have not asked them to. And I try to be somebody who can take constructive criticism. It's something I've had to practice into adulthood. That being said, I'm not sure that many people know how to be constructive. So I am very appreciative of those of you who take the time and the effort to be calm and concise and articulate, and remember that I am in fact a person reading this. And also those of you that care enough to reach out to me with advice. I appreciate that you are taking your time to tell me something, especially if it's polite. I'm happy to get to meet all you guys. Let's take this strike, see if I can clear this hump without cracking this thing clean in half. Come on. If I take 3 strikes and it doesn't work, move angles, see if I can maybe adjust, get it to work. Let's try this. Bring a little more depth to it. A little shallower of a strike. Help it out. Irrigate it almost. Alright. It's important to remember whether your billet can fit in that area, and you gotta test that. I think this has potential to be a crisp crack, so I'm gonna let this car go by and burp. Whew. Okay. Don't prove me wrong, Stone. Well, it didn't crack in half, and I'm fine with that. Had a little corner pop off alongside even. It's just, what did I do with that thing? There you go. This was kind of connected to this guy. You can actually see that corner came off, but it's just really razor thin there now. I just got to get that strike down as a good usable shard. Flake, blade. Terminology. Designation, classifications, and such. Yes, yes. Despite what my shirt may say, I did not graduate from the University of Virginia or attend the University of Virginia. I know I seem quite like the college graduate type, but Alright, continue on here. Now that is what I was hoping for. I lost the tip of it a little bit. See where it busted down there and traveled underneath, but drop that flake. Good razor sharp piece. I don't know if it's coming through on camera from this angle, but it's kind of translucent. Good usable flake. Now that's looking a little better. Still got this side, but this side I like to look at. I'm liking it. Let's keep moving. Start up around here. Right up in here, I'm just gonna start bopping away, try and see how this cortex and stuff reacts. It's really dull. I don't like that sound, so I'm gonna see if I can't pop some of that chalk off. While I'm talking about the chalk on Georgetown, here's a little tip. If any of you guys who sell Georgetown are watching for any reason, you're missing out. Get those raw nodules and sell that chalk. It is really good, really cool, primitive style of art, note-taking, direction-making, and symbolizing. And you guys have a ton of it. I make pendants, rings, necklaces from the cheaper nodules I get that have a ton of chalk on them. It's a really fun secondary project if you ever need an rest day. So guys, get on that. Stop letting that stuff go to waste. Come on. Okay, coming back right through here. Yeah, that's all cortex. What I'm gonna do, strike it with a stone. Yep. So right in there, that little shape, that circular pit, that tells me that that was not gonna travel through at all. That force stopped it right there. That's okay though. That's why we test like that. Now this is something that I don't know if this is the smartest way to go about this. It's what I do, and it's taken a lot of practice. I'm gonna try and strike right in here. It's a good thin hammerstone. It's not it's high risk, high reward. I'm gonna go for it. It might not pay off, but in my opinion, that paid off. I still got some more work, but that right there dropped out. Pitted a little bit, but that's okay because I gotta sacrifice that edge so it can keep moving in. Oh my abrader broke a little bit too. You can see that little piece there. Walk that edge back and pop that little piece off. There we go. This edge is kind of nasty. It's not a pretty angle, but you gotta learn to improvise. There's many things require effort to become pretty. There we go. Now we're getting there. That crisp crack sound, that's what I like to hear. Yeah. Okay, last little corner here. Come back. And I'm just doing what I call edge walking. I hear other people use that term. I'm not entirely sure if I have the same definition as them. It's just what naturally came to for me. It's just walking back and forth, flipping it, bop, to get that kind of sawtooth edge that is oh so necessary when it comes to napped blades. Just say napped bifaces. You can do monolithic blades and such, laminar blades. Edge off.
We got double neighbor.
Also, if you made it this far, go ahead and let me know if you like me leaving all of the abrading in on the long ones. I try to leave them unedited so that people can see there's no sleight of hand or tomfoolery going on, but it can get tedious, I understand that, and I know a lot of people, in fact, don't like the abrading sound, especially in comparison to the much more appealing striking sounds, but it is an unfortunate reality of the process. So let me know what you think, let me know what you prefer, and we can accommodate that. Actually dropped a lot of really good flakes. If you see me drop these flakes in these videos, I go back through later on and I collect all these pieces. They're getting caught up on a mat underneath me, but I then go through, actually sort out what I really like and don't, and take the good ones for future use. There we go. Cracked out and pitted, not ideal, but what is ideal, that clean flake running all the way across, giving me a clean, even edge profile. So you can see right there, broke, came off. left that, really flattened up that profile, and this thing's all about done. I'm gonna do a couple more flakes, get kind of a flatter profile and a little less wobbly, but it is, for all intents and purposes, functionally done. If you're making a Handaxe for survival purposes, for necessity, this is done. This is finished. You don't need to go an inch further. Don't risk it. Don't waste that material. It's never a waste if you're pushing yourself and exploring and things creatively, but it can be a waste if you try and go for that big, cool, hafted knife blade when you're about to go hungry, and you could have just spent the however long this video is to bop out a simple Handaxe. And if you can make a knife in the time that I can make a Handaxe, that is excellent. I'm very happy for you. Don't tell me, I really don't care. I am all out of impressed for the day. Fighting a temptation here to bust out the old pressure flakers because I want to get a nice clean edge profile, but to some people's definitions I'm already pushing my luck using antler billets on a Handaxe at all and not just a hammerstone. So I will leave the pressure flakers to the side for this one. It will say a nice bout coupé with a bit of a wobbly edge to it at some parts. Alright, something I like to do on my Handaxes, especially if I nap them all the way around, I pick one little corner section, about 2-3 inches of it, and I abrade it. I can always come back through and resharpen it, but this is going to be where I grip it. And while I've definitely come to accept that cuts are an inevitability in reality, I can take steps to avoid them, though I won't wear gloves, so don't say that. No sweat if you do wear gloves. One point that I don't make often in comments, 'cause it's kind of hard to articulate, is I'm very privileged and lucky that my line of work does not prohibit me from getting cuts outside of work and stuff. You know, I can afford for my hands to be cut up through the week at the job I do. Some of you guys can't. I totally get that, and do not ever sacrifice your daily well-being for napping. It's not worth it, and that's a dangerous precedent to set with yourself. So while I appreciate concern as to how much I bleed, I'm all right. I promise. As you can see, a corner bopped out. I didn't comment on it because I just got focused on fixing it. A little piece bopped out there where there was a natural fracture, and I just had to go with it and abrade a little more. But now I've got this thing done. good. Thin enough by my standards, that's for sure. It's not the straightest, but it doesn't have to be. It's a Handaxe. So I've got some scrap leather back here. This is remnants from an old project. Gonna finish them up. Show you guys a cut test. There we go. Works for me. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Be well.